everything.
You want history? Go get a book.
Go read it. Exactly. Not this movie.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Movie Night with the Youngs. I'm Brittany.
And I'm Nicole.
And this week we are back with, it's a new month. Well, oh no, it is a new month. July just started. Yeah. So it is a new month and we're calling it Random Month.
Mm-hmm.
There's no theme other than that we just chose movies that we wanted to watch because last month felt like it was dragging on a little bit.
It was very dark.
Which we started out with a
True.
Yeah, this week we are doing Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom from 1984, directed by Steven Spielberg, starring Harrison Ford, Kate Capshaw, and Quan. It's not a happy pappy movie. It's pretty dark.
It is, but it's a different kind of dark from the ones we were just watching.
Yeah, I mean, this one didn't scare me, but I did want to start off with a few things. We're just jumping right in. The first one being, we talked about this when we did Gremlins. This is the other movie that Steven Spielberg did that helped him kind of petition the MPAA to get a PG-13 rating. Because there was like PG and R. There was nothing in between. And this movie and Gremlins were like the two movies that he was like, okay, we have to put in like another rating. That's not so R, but it's not so PG.
So this one is PG-13?
Yeah.
I didn't look.
I mean, I think it's well warranted.
Yeah, I think so.
It's a darker vibe. Definitely a darker vibe than Raiders of the Lost Ark. Or even the other, Indiana Jones that come after it. This one is pretty dark. And I don't think that, or from what I've read about it, it wasn't well received.
Really? It's actually pretty dark though. Or I mean, like gory. This one's more gory to me.
Yeah, it wasn't well received, and it's actually the reason why Spielberg wanted to do a third one. And I think that's why the third one really goes back to like the formula of Raiders with like, I don't know, like I think the thing that I kind of found out with this one is there's really no plot. Like, I love this movie. There's no plot.
Yeah,
it's just
it reminds me of it reminds me of Mission Impossible movies. Like it's just nothing but action all over the place, random stunts, things that like aren't plausible at all.
Yeah, no, there's like maybe the last hour of this movie is just action sequences and Quan yelling Indy.
We love him.
No, of course we love Quan, but like I watched it and I was like, there is no plot to this movie. Like it makes no sense. And I think that's probably what a lot of people didn't like about it. I will say, even though I found this movie didn't have a plot, of all the movies we've watched, this is the one that I actually had to keep reminding myself to take notes and notice things. I was thoroughly entertained.
Yeah.
Like I don't have a lot of notes because I was really into the movie.
Yeah. Like we were actually watching the movie other than analyzing it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's interesting. I mean, we did watch this quite a bit. I mean, people are probably like, oh, you're picking the worst Indiana Jones movie to go over. Understood.
I didn't even know the rest of the population indie fans thought of that. Because we watch, like you said, we watch this one all the time.
It's not a well-received one, that's for sure. It's not. I mean, if it's enough to make the director be like, we got to go again.
I guess.
I was entertained. We liked it. We were entertained. But I suppose we'll get into the actual movie. Indiana Jones. Oh, which is also one thing I didn't realize. I didn't realize that this was a prequel.
Oh.
I mean, it's only by like 2 years. I think Raiders takes place in like 1936. This takes place in 1935.
Oh.
It's not really that different. But the movie opens in 1935 Shanghai at a little nightclub where we meet Kate Capshaw's character, Willie Scott, who is a lounge singer. She's a lounge singer? I don't know. She's a lounge singer. I don't know why I feel that happens.
I'm going to say showgirl, but no.
She could be a showgirl. Also, guys, I'm going to be sweating. It is 95 degrees in my apartment right now, and I have no windows or doors open because we can't have it with the sound. So apologies.
You really need to get some AC.
I really do. Just need to get a better apartment. The amount of people who comment on my 1950s pile back there. Anyway,
Mhm.
Shanghai, 1935, open up in a lounge in a club. Willie Scott, she's singing, and we see Indiana Jones, Harrison Ford's character, is in a exchange with the nightclub owner, whose name is Lau. His name is Lau.
Mhm.
And they're trying to negotiate something. And this is what caught me right off the top. Indiana Jones has been all over the world, yet every single people or group of people he talks to speak English.
True. But he also speaks their language.
But that's my thing, is he, even in this exchange, he starts speaking Chinese for like 2 seconds. And then the
And then
Lao says, like, I didn't know you spoke my language. And he's like, when I want to.
yeah.
Why don't you ever
Well,
want to?
maybe today was the day he wanted to.
But he just makes no effort for anybody else. Like, it's very weird to me that Indiana Jones wouldn't be at least fluent in other languages if he can read other languages too.
Yeah, true.
I think that's just for stupid American audiences. We would have read the subtitles. But during this exchange, Indiana Jones, I'm hot. Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones exchanges the ashes of the first Ming emperor for this giant diamond.
Mhm.
And he sips a drink that Lau has given him, and Lau just starts laughing. Is like, give me back the diamond. And he's like, what? Oh, I've just put poison in your drink, and here's the antidote. Give me back the diamond. Interestingly enough, there's a little guy, Indy's friend, who is there like with a gun. I'm not explaining this correctly at all.
Well,
But
it's true. Yeah.
yeah, he's there with a gun about to like back Indy up, and a fight breaks out. And what I think is very interesting is that this fight like escalates to the entire club going chaotic.
Mhm.
What were you gonna say?
Well, I was gonna say, I find it funny that the beginning of it, like there's champagne bottles popping, which covers the gun of or covers the
Yeah,
sound
the
of like a
gunshot.
gunshot, and no one's paying attention to anything happening. And then, like you said, all of a sudden it breaks out and like it's complete chaos. Everyone's fighting, but the
Yeah.
dancers are still dancing
Yeah, like
in the
it's just
background
all over the
normally.
place. But
Mhm.
like, I mean, it's obviously movie thing, but what gets me is that Lau tells Indy, this is a a fast acting poison. You need the antidote fast. Yet he's about to spend the next 6 minutes
Fighting
in a
and
full on
yeah,
fight.
yeah, I agree.
Physical exertion,
Well,
everything.
he actually does he ever show signs of even going out? I feel like he
He
doesn't.
gets sweaty.
But well, he's fighting everybody. Of course he's gonna be sweaty.
But that's the thing, is if this is supposed to be fast acting, like how fast acting? Clearly less
Mm.
than 6 minutes.
Maybe in the
But
next hour.
yeah, but as the fight is going on, he's, you know, hilarity ensues. Willie is trying to get the diamond that's now fallen onto the floor.
Mhm.
Indiana's trying to get the antidote. I thought it was interesting because he picks up a flaming kebab, a
It's like a
giant
giant one.
flaming, yeah, a giant 2-foot long flaming kebab, and just throws it into a man's chest,
Mhm.
which makes me wonder how many people has Indiana Jones killed throughout the series?
Oh, hundreds, I'm sure.
Like, Indiana Jones is like a full-on murderer. He's
Yeah.
not like, we are all just like, yeah, he's such a great, like, yeah, he's such a hero. He's badass. And I'm like, he's a murderer. We've
On the
barely,
side, he
yeah,
also is an archaeologist.
yeah, and a professor, but we've barely made it out of the main credits, and he's already thrown a kebab into a man's chest and killed him.
Yeah, he's probably killed like 15 people in that within that 30-second scene.
Not in this scene.
Yeah.
No, he's not killing 15 people.
There's a bunch.
But yeah, like it's glazed over that he just kills people.
Yeah.
Like, I counted at least solid 4 kills in
Yeah.
this movie.
But he's more portrayed as like the hero. So the people he's killing are bad guys. So no one you don't think about it.
I know, but like, murder.
He's multitasking.
But we can't just excuse throwing a flaming kebab into a man's chest.
Yeah. Meh.
It just, I think I once did look up, and like somebody did the math of like how many people Indiana Jones has killed throughout the series, and it's like, I think it was like
What
over
was it?
100. I
Oh,
think
I'm
it was over
sure.
100.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But it's just, yeah, it's just very interesting to me. But as the fight ensues, Willie ends up putting the antidote in her dress, and Indiana Jones sees her. He grabs her. They jump out of a window and go through the very iconic fall between all of the awnings of this building, and they land in a car, unharmed.
Of course.
Unharmed, just to add to your like none of this is realistic. In the car, the car is being driven by like 9-year-old Quan, who literally has pieces of wood tied to his shoes so he can reach the pedals.
I think that's hilarious. The car is really elaborate.
Yeah, it's a very
I wasn't expecting that type of vehicle to come through that. I don't know. It's an interesting choice.
I mean, I think he probably stole like Lau's fancy car. I mean, we don't know cars, so we can't even tell you what kind of car it is, but it's a very fancy, like, this is what you would call an automobile.
Yeah.
Like, it's from back in the day. It's an automobile.
Yeah.
But while Shortround, which is Key's character, is driving them through the streets of Shanghai, trying to get away from Lau's gangsters who are now following him, which makes me wonder, why are they chasing after him? He doesn't have the diamond.
Did they think he had the diamond?
I don't know, but I was like, this makes no sense. Why are they continuing to chase after him? He doesn't have the diamond. Take the antidote. Who cares? He also didn't take back the ashes of the Ming ruler.
They must have thought he had it.
I guess.
Because they never show anyone actually picking it back up.
No. So it's just like kind of back to the whole there's no plot here. It's just a car chase scene that Steven Spielberg wanted to do. Yeah. Like, let's just have some guys fall over a bunch of like mangoes in the street. Which happens. But they are chasing Shortround, Willie, and Indiana Jones. They finally get to a airport, and an assistant guy comes out and says, like, oh, Mr. Jones, like, I've gotten you passage on this ship, or not ship, on this airplane. Like, we have to get on it right now. Do you know who that actor is?
I don't, but I reckon the voice sounds so familiar to me.
It's our good Ghostbuster, Dan Aykroyd.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You wouldn't know if you didn't know.
Yeah, because you don't get close to his face. So
no, you don't. But like when you hear the voice and you know it's him, you're like, that is Dan Aykroyd. I don't know why he's like, it is a cameo. Like, I don't know why he's in there. Maybe he owed Steven Spielberg or asked Steven Spielberg, but it's a quick and you'll miss it cameo by Dan Aykroyd.
Huh. I knew the voice sounded familiar.
Yeah, but he rushes the group onto this airplane, and Lau shows up, and Indy goes like, ha ha, Lau, you didn't get me, jumps onto the plane, closes the door, and you see on the plane, it says like Lao Chen.
Yeah.
It's his company. And he looks to the pilots and is like, which obviously the nod means take care of them.
Yeah. Take him out.
Yeah. Like do what I hired apparently. But they get into this plane and they take off and they start flying over the Himalayas, which this is another question I have that comes up. Why did Willie go with them?
I don't know. I don't know why she went. I don't know why she took the antidote. None of that made sense to me. But
like, I feel justifying her in this movie is really, really hard.
Yeah.
She has no purpose of being there. She's annoying. She screams all the time. Like, I feel like Willie Scott, Kate Capshaw's character, is literally there as the antithesis of Marion Ravenwood, who was in Raiders of the Lost Ark, who was like down to go on any adventure, could hold her own, could hold her liquor, was like, I love you, Indiana Jones, but if you don't want to be with me, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, she was very strong. And then here we have Willie Scott, who, like, all she does is complain.
Damsel in distress.
Yeah, she's very judgmental. She's very snotty. She doesn't do anything to really help them throughout the whole movie. Like, she's really hard for me to justify being a character even.
Yeah. And I think in this scene, you get a glimpse of like what her character actually is, because she just immediately starts complaining and yelling, and she's carrying her sparkly dress around.
Yeah.
That drives me crazy.
Yeah, she's annoying, and I'm going to call my agent. And yeah, she just has really no reason to be there. But it also makes me wonder too. I first wrote down the note, whose child is Shortround that the parents were fine with Indiana Jones just taking him on a plane to now another
No,
country.
he says
I know. He says
oh,
later. No, I
yeah,
had to know. He says later that Shortround's parents were
yeah,
killed in a bombing, and he found him roaming the streets when he was like
mhm,
4.
yeah.
But also, oh, go ahead.
But still, their relationship is a little odd.
Well, I was gonna say
Like,
it's
he
an
adopts his kids and takes them on these adventures that he goes on.
yeah, but only for one movie. He's never brought up
Oh, yeah, that's
in
true.
any other movie,
That
even
is
in
true.
like passing. But it's also interesting. I think another switch from Raiders and maybe what they corrected in Last Crusade. Why does Indiana Jones all of a sudden now have like a child sidekick?
Because it just fits.
Like, I adore Quan.
Mhm.
Have always. He's in my favorite movie, The Goonies.
Well,
Like,
and he's when you think of I don't know other Indiana Jones fans, but when I think of the franchise, like, one of the characters I think of is him.
it's Short Round.
Yeah.
Exactly. But it just doesn't make any logical sense. And their chemistry together, Harrison Ford and Kwan's, is
Mhm.
great. Their back and forth banter is perfect. But it's just one of those things where I'm like, you just fought Nazis in the last episode. You were fighting Hitler. And now here we have a child sidekick that you adopted from the streets of
Yeah.
Shanghai.
Hey.
It's just not making sense to me. I love the choice. It's just not making
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. I think that's the
But
point. It doesn't have to make sense.
I guess so, because here's about to be some real nonsensical mess. They fall asleep, and Lau's guys decide, hey, we're going to dump all the fuel on this plane.
Mhm.
We're going to parachute out, and you guys are going to crash. The group wakes up. They find out they don't know how to, or realize they don't know how to fly a plane. They have no fuel, and they're about to head into these mountains. So they find the next best thing to a parachute, because there aren't any, which is just an inflatable raft. And they jump in the inflatable raft,
Uh,
jump out of the plane, pull the cord so the raft inflates, and then fly through the air. Meanwhile, Willie is screaming the entire time.
yeah.
Just too much screaming from her. When they hit the slopes, it's very graceful.
I was gonna that's what I'm saying, like, the whole action sequence, they're not plausible, but the whole time I was thinking this scene, I was like, "We should have tried a raft in the snow."
Oh, we should have tried a raft in the snow. But this is what I think to myself. If you're falling from that high of a place, maybe this whole entire episode is just us just questioning the movie, not even talking about it.
It could be.
But like when you hit the slopes, the inflatable part of the raft is not the bottom.
I mean, the
So
likelihood that you're still in the raft when you hit the ground is pretty unlikely.
wouldn't they have injured themselves hitting the slope, because they're not where it's inflated? If
Yeah,
they're plausibly in. And I will say,
true.
I'm a huge Mythbusters fan. They have done several things from the Indiana Jones franchise, and I think
Mhm.
this is one of them. And they could not get their guy to stay inside, and there was
Yeah,
only one inside the raft.
yeah, I believe
Um,
that.
but they hit the slopes of the Himalayas in in their raft, and they're just shooting down. At one point, they almost traverse a tree, which I'm just like, I feel like that was where they probably cut, and then they just go into like a close up of them.
Oh,
Um, but this takes them all the way down the mountain and then off a cliff to land safely into a raging whitewater river,
yeah.
which makes
See?
sense with the boat.
Yeah, you have multi uses for it.
Yeah, but now they're just going along this river calmly.
Mhm.
Willie still freaking out, Indiana and Short Round kind of lounging. They end up slowing down, and she's like, "Where are we?" And Indiana Jones looks up and sees an older gentleman standing there, and he's like, "India," which
Yeah,
is
I
racist.
yeah, I was like, how do you know that?"
Which is racist, Indiana. See a brown person and you just assume a brown country. You could have been in
Yeah,
England for all you know.
yeah.
But they are, in fact, in India. And this gentleman takes them to his village, which the
Mhm,
village looks it looks sad. It looks very dry. It's run down. Nobody looks happy.
mhm.
And this man, and I think like he is the head of the village and his like
I think
secondhand
so,
man,
yeah.
invite the group in and give them food, to which Willie is extremely rude.
Yeah, I I wrote in my notes that this is where she got really annoying for me.
Yeah, like she refuses to eat the corn and rice that they give her. And
Mhm.
Indiana's like, these people are starving. This is more than they eat in a week, and they're offering
Yeah.
it to us, which made me feel very like that's like a really profound uh not analyzation. That's a really profound observation.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like it is one of those things where I always try to be kind to people when they offer me food or drink, even if I don't like it. But you never know if someone is extending a courtesy to you at the risk of losing it
By
themselves.
them, yeah.
You know, like he said, like this is more than they eat in a week, and they're giving it to the three of us.
Yeah.
And she's like, poo poo.
Exactly.
You know, so that was
She's just rude and
she's
snotty and
again, I
yeah.
cannot justify I'm sorry, Kate Capshaw, I cannot justify your character in this movie. You
Yeah.
don't need to be here.
Yeah.
But during this time, the head of the village, again, everyone who speaks English,
It must just be easier.
I think it's just for the movie, starts telling the group that basically this group of people from is it Paquette? Paquette Palace?
I
No,
can't
I need to look
remember.
that up. I don't want to be Pancot from
Mm.
Pancot Palace came and stole this special stone that gave life to the village. Once the stone was gone, all of their crops spoiled, the well dried up, their animals died. Like it's just been really bad going. And they've also taken their children. And this leader of the village believes that they prayed to Shiva to bring them help. And now here's Indiana Jones. And that's why he knows Indiana Jones is going to go help them.
Yeah.
And this is what I also think is different about the movie. All the other Indiana Jones, like they go after mythical, historical artifacts. I know that the Shankara stones, or what Indiana believes this stone is part of the Shankara stones, which is like the stones, I had to look it up, the stones that Hindu people believe that Shiva, I believe. I don't want to be.
Oh, you did look at I thought about
I
looking it up. I was like,
did.
I wonder how accurate this really is.
Yeah, the Shankara stones were given by the Hindu gods to help humanity fight evil. And that's but that's the thing is like we've heard about the Ark of the Covenant. We've heard about the what is it? What did Jesus drink out of at the Last Supper?
Clearly, our religious background is
Oh my gosh, what did he
not
drink out
very
of in the
strong.
third movie? The chalice.
I don't remember. I won't even pretend.
That King Arthur went to go. Oh my goodness. Okay.
But we know what you're talking about.
Yes, like those things I feel like are popular enough that people have heard of them. I'd never heard of these stones. And I think that was kind of also maybe another thing that fans were like, well, you're not really going after, like, there's no history mystery of Temple of Doom like there is in Raiders and Last Crusade or even Crystal Skull. Like there's so many parts of those movies where Indiana Jones goes through the history and the myth and the lore and like kind of teaches you things, but this one's just all like, how many booby traps can we get these guys in?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's to me what was definitely missing in this movie now as an adult. I was like, where is kind of the historical Da Vinci Code-ish thriller part of this movie that is definitely part of the other ones?
Yeah, that's true. I think this one's just more focused on the action.
Yeah, which
And
sure.
you can fill in the blanks of the actual lore behind everything.
You want history? Go get a book.
Exactly. Not this movie.
Yeah. This is for the fans. But why can't I remember what it is called? That's really going to bother me. Anyways.
Yeah.
So Indiana Jones decides, I'm going to help this village out. I'm going to go get your stones. He barely mentions rescuing the kids. Like, they talk a lot about, no, they don't, Nicole.
Yeah, but I feel like it's implied. He's going to do that while he's there.
Even while he's there, it doesn't feel implied. It feels completely glossed over. But the village gives them 3 elephants and they start traversing through the jungle. And this is kind of a fun little thing where, I mean, I will say the stuff with Willie here is funny. Like, she can't stand the smell of the elephants, so she puts like her expensive cologne on them. They like throw her off.
Which I thought was rude.
Well, it is rude. And also, why
chemicals on elephants?
But also, why do you just Again, you came from a nightclub where you were singing and all of a sudden you have perfume in your pocket?
Yeah, exactly. Well, and the scene she, like, switches from, like, heels to flats, I just think
Yeah,
that's
oh,
a mess up, but
her shoes throughout later in the scene, she goes from barefoot to sandals
yeah,
constantly, and I'm like, "Girl, are you just, like,
yeah,
putting them on and off?"
yeah.
But yeah, there's a couple scenes where she's, like, digging her heels into the elephant, and I'm like,
Mhm.
I feel like
Weird.
PETA should have been on set for that.
Yeah.
But they are going through the jungle, and again, you see more of Short Round and Indiana Jones's like banter. They play cards and
Mhm.
accuse each other of cheating and all this stuff. It's a fun like 2 minutes here.
Yeah, I like that scene.
Then they get to the like border of the palace,
Mm.
and their guides start freaking out. They can sense something's wrong. There's huge bats flying everywhere. Indiana finds a little kind of shrine that has like what I probably first time ever noticed, cut off
The
fingers.
fingers? Yeah.
I don't think I ever
Oh,
noticed
I
those were
think I've
fingers.
noticed that.
Never, never even noticed. There's fingers like on this altar, and Indiana Jones tells them like, "Don't come up here. It's not for your eyes," basically. And
Mhm.
then their guides like disappear with elephants.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which not fair doesn't make sense because you just literally went through killing people and everything. I
yeah.
don't
He's
see the
got a
difference.
moral line. He doesn't want to see. He
Like,
doesn't
it's
want.
not any different than what they just saw.
He's like, these fingers are too much. But the
And then
kebab,
stabbing someone in the chest is
yeah,
fine.
the kebab was just enough. The fingers, too much.
Mhm.
But they walk up to the palace and they're greeted by the prime minister to the Maharaja, which I
Mhm.
think is like, you're the prime minister to the Maharaja?
Well, that's what I say, is this movie is it accurate?
Well,
I have no idea.
the Maharaja implies that there's a royal monarchy.
Mhm.
But then you also have a prime minister, which I guess is England. I don't know why I'm acting so duncy. That's England.
Mm.
There's a monarchy, but there's also a parliament. Checks out. Fact
I don't know
checker,
for this
checks
movie,
out.
but okay.
Well, the prime minister is happy to see them,
Mhm.
but I also think again is interesting because he says like, "Oh, I'm Indiana Jones," and he's like, "Dr. Jones,
Yeah, he knows him.
the archaeologist, and I'm like, well, "How come Indiana Jones never says I'm Dr. Indiana Jones? Like, be proud.
I don't know. But Short Round always says,
You call
"You
him
need to
Dr.
call him Dr.
Jones."
Jones." Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm like, Indiana never introduces himself as Dr. Jones to anybody.
Yeah, very true.
Because like I feel like nowadays people are like, "Oh, hi, Mrs. Young. It's Dr. Young. Thank you." Like, I don't know, I just feel like it was a thing. But
Yeah.
they invite them into the palace and they this is what cracks me up. In the next scene, it's just Short Round like on a balcony, like at the palace, and you just hear Indiana say, "Where's my razor?
Yeah.
Where are your bags? Where's your luggage?" Like,
Well, maybe it's what's in those 2 bags that Short Round's always carrying through the whole movie.
are those bags? I thought that was like a coat rolled up.
No, they're they're 2 little bags. I don't know what's in those bags.
Apparently a brand new suit and some glasses
I
that
guess so.
Indiana now changes into to go have dinner with the
I'm sure those
Maharaja,
were provided to them.
but nobody provided Short Round with any clothes. He's
True.
wearing the same exact clothes. Indiana is changed into like a
Yeah.
nice suit, and then Willie is changed into like a full. She's not
Like
wearing a
traditional.
sari. Yeah, she's not
Yeah.
wearing a sari, but oh, maybe she is wearing a sari in this scene, and it's later on she's not wearing a sari, but she's like in a full traditional
Mhm.
Indian outfit,
Yeah.
and I'm like, so you have enough for those two, but not the poor child who is.
His clothes look like they were repressed.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did.
Mm,
I mean,
I don't
Hat
think
is still
so.
incredibly dirty this whole movie, but
Oh yeah, his Mets hat,
mhm.
very dirty. But they have dinner with the Maharaja, where we find out that the Maharaja is like 7.
Yeah, a little child.
His voice hasn't even dropped yet. Like he's a
Yeah,
little boy
yeah.
and doesn't really talk with the guests. But this scene really bothered me because, well, one, they separate like Indiana to go sit by the prime minister, the Maharaja, and like a general, like a
Captain
British,
from a
yeah,
yeah. Mhm.
captain. And they have like a actual intellectual conversation about the stones. Like he
Yeah.
says, I went to this village and they said that, something was taken from them. I'm wondering, do you have it? And the prime
Mhm.
minister says, like, how dare you insult your host?
Yeah.
Like, what are you
Accuse of
trying
us
to,
stealing. Mhm.
yeah, what are you trying to imply here? And the Maharaja like kicks in and is just like, I've heard these stories and that's never going to happen in my
Mhm.
kingdom.
Yeah.
And then down the table, you have Willie and Shortround, who are just amongst the rest of the men, but their whole interaction in this scene is, I don't know, it's like the production made a really extreme choice to like try to make this seem super exotic. Or I don't want to say exotic,
With
that's
the
not the right
foods.
word. Yeah, like
Mhm.
it's extremely culturally insensitive. But
Mhm.
I think they tried to make it seem like, look at this lavishness. Like, they're
Yeah.
eating a snake that's stuffed with live seals. She's about to throw up. They're
Mhm.
eating like the butts of beetles.
Yeah. Monkey
She's about,
brains.
yeah, monkey brains in the head of a
Mhm.
monkey
Mhm.
still. Like soup that has like eyeballs in it.
Yeah.
Like they're really trying very hard, I think, to make it feel this way. And I'm like, when they were in the village, they were just eating straight up corn and rice.
Yeah. Which is
Like,
most likely what they would have in the palace too.
yeah, like it just was one of those things where I was like, you guys are trying really, really hard to make this
Mhm.
feel this ickiness. Like it's just an ickiness,
Yeah. Yeah.
which I know is not the proper way. And I feel like I should be more eloquent to like, this is cultural insensitivity. This is racism, but it's just ickiness.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, they could have taken it out, I feel like. Or
Yeah.
just pick something else that they were doing at the other end of the table.
Yeah. Or like, again, it's cannot justify her character in the movie, can't justify her character here, or like what they're doing besides some comedic relief.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like it just, and even like she says she was there thinking that, oh, has the Maharaja taken a wife?
Yeah, that
And then
I
the
know
joke
it's
is that
odd.
he's, well, no, but she doesn't know he's 7. And then it comes out and it's like, oh, and even Short Run
Yeah.
says like, maybe he likes
He likes
older
older.
women.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
again,
pretty funny.
it's just for comedic relief, but
Yeah.
it's like, you guys don't
But
really
that's what
need to
short
be
round's
here.
for.
I know, but it's just like, again, there are children who have been in royal positions. Like you're making fun of another culture. Like
Yeah. Mhm.
it's just unnecessary. But after dinner, they go to their respective rooms, and this is where it just gets weird.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like Indiana comes down and he's just like, I think I'm gonna check on Willie for a second.
Mhm.
And I could not hear what Short Round was saying, but I think he knew
Yeah, and then he makes that comment like, "Tell me what happens later," or share something like that, yeah. Like they're
something.
super buddy,
Yeah, like he's gonna come
same
in and tell this
age, yeah.
9-year-old, like, guess
Yeah,
what I just did.
yeah.
But Indiana Jones goes to Willie's room and they have this weird sexual banter, innuendos throwing left and right that are not veiled at all.
Which I feel like this whole scene could have just been left out.
Yeah, we don't need it.
Mhm.
Again, we don't need it. Like they get into this huge fight, basically saying, like, you'll be back in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
The one thing that gets me is Kate Capshaw literally says, I could have been your greatest adventure.
Yeah.
You guys have known each other for 10 minutes.
That's how it works in the movies.
Ugh, it's so weird. But Indiana goes back to his room. In his room, he gets attacked by an assassin
Mhm. While Short Run's sleeping.
while Short Run is sleeping during this 5 minutes.
Exactly.
And finally, they're fighting, they're struggling. She's out in the hall yelling, I could have been your greatest adventure. He finally, well, Short Round wakes up finally, does nothing. Oh, no. He says, Indy,
No,
your whip.
yeah.
Throws Indiana Jones his whip and he wraps it around the assassin's neck. And then it gets
Sucked into the
caught.
fan. I think
Yeah,
he
like
throws it and hits the fan, yeah.
it gets caught in the ceiling fan and the guy chokes to death.
Mhm.
So that's kill 2.
Yeah.
That's
I
confirmed kill.
I feel like it's not as
Number
messy
2.
as the previous kills we've seen.
No, but it's
So,
still a murder.
well, yeah.
Still a murder, guys. I'm getting sweaty and red. This is the dedication to the pod. So Indiana Jones goes across the hall. I'm assuming to see if there's an assassin in Willie's room.
Yeah, that's why he's checking in all the
Okay, I
places.
wasn't
Yeah.
sure because then he starts like actually investigating more, and I'm like, was that the purpose you went in there? But he goes to look around and finds a secret passageway. and he says to Shortround, "Get our stuff.
The 2 bags that he's been
Get our
carrying the
stuff.
whole
We're leaving
movie.
through the secret passage." But they go through the secret passageway, and I thought that this was really funny. I love how he tells him, like, "You step where I step, Shortround. Like,
Oh,
don't
yeah.
touch anything." And
Yeah.
immediately he touches something, and like skeletons pop out.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
also in the whatchamacallit. You froze, so you're just sitting there laughing, thinking that it's gonna.
I can hear you.
Can you see me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So in the Indiana Jones ride, when you go through the queue, there's like a lot of stuff like
Mm.
that. Like, don't touch this, but you're supposed to touch it.
Oh, and the line?
Yeah.
Oh, I never pay attention to that part.
I like those things. But we also get
Yeah.
there so early that we just kind of cruise through.
Yeah.
But they're going through this secret passage. They're stepping on bugs. They go into this room, and Short Round steps. Again, it's a giant booby trap. Short
Yep.
Round steps on a button. It closes all the doors.
Mhm.
Then he stands up against the wall, pushes in a lever, and it makes the ceiling come down with spikes.
Yep.
They start screaming for Willie to come
Mhm.
help them. And of course, she comes through, typical, like, "Help me, there's bugs everywhere."
Yeah, she's taking too long. Yeah.
Yeah, she's freaking out. She's like covered in bugs now. And he keeps telling her, like, "Go into, put your hand through this hole to pull the
Mhm.
lever." And she's like, "You do it." Of course, just adding to the whole, they're
Which
going to get creamed.
yeah, I mean, to be fair, I probably would have reacted the same way in this scene just
Yeah,
'cause
but
I'm
like,
not trying to have bugs all over me.
but it's also just like, how naive can you be that if someone is saying that we're going to die in here
Yeah.
and you're
Yeah.
still screaming about bugs?
Yeah.
Like, at a certain point, it's like, come on, girl. Like, the
Yeah.
comedy's gone now.
Yeah.
But she puts her hand through the hole, pulls the lever, the door's open. Hooray! She walks into the room freaking out again and accidentally steps and
Sets
pushes
it
her
off
butt on
again.
the same button. So now
Yeah.
they have to run. Very Indiana Jones, goes underneath the door before it shuts, and he grabs his hat.
It's hot.
Very
Yeah.
indie.
Yeah.
Like, that's an indie trademark.
This whole thing reminds me of the Goonies, this whole scene.
Well, it makes sense. Steven Spielberg
Yeah.
produced Goonies, so.
Yeah.
And again,
It
like I
even
said,
looks
just
it even looks the same to me.
yeah, just how many giant booby traps can we put these people in?
Mhm.
But they go through the other side of this booby trap, and they come across this huge cave where they stumble upon what looks like, well, not what looks like, what is a
Giant
ritual
ritual.
sacrifice.
Mhm.
There's a bunch of guys kneeling and hemming and hawing.
Mhm.
There's a giant pit of lava, and there's like scary people.
Scary people.
I don't know how to say it. Like, there's like a giant demon statue. There's a bunch
Yeah.
of skulls everywhere. There's
Yeah.
people who are not speaking, but they look creepy.
Yeah. Their makeup. Yeah.
And a guy comes out who I guess is the shaman, and he starts speaking the ritual.
Yeah.
And they bring out the sacrifice, and they tuck him into this steel cage
Age. Uh-huh.
and lower him. Well, first, before they
Don't
do,
forget yeah.
yeah, the shaman takes his hand and puts it on the guy's heart or chest and literally punches a
Pull.
hole through and rips out his heart.
Yeah. Which I feel like is an iconic scene.
Yeah, and is this the practical special effects here, top notch for 1984, super
Mhm.
cheesy for 2023.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
And is this the first movie that did that where everyone like makes fun of it and everyone tries to copy? Is that it came from
oh,
this movie, right? I'm
I have no
assuming.
idea. I don't
Oh,
know. I
yeah.
mean, who knows?
I would assume so since
I
it's so
mean, working with George
84.
Luke George Lucas's company, you know, does a lot of
Yeah.
visual effects, special effects. I have no idea,
Mhm.
but he rips out his heart and it's still beating, and the guy's still alive because that makes sense.
His chest has healed too.
Yeah, no blood, nothing. Very
It's very
clean.
I was gonna say it's a very clean surgery.
Very clean removal. But they lower the guy into the lava, and as they're doing it, the closer he gets to the lava, his heart starts to burst into flame in the man's hand.
Mhm.
And of course, at this point, which I also thought was interesting, Willie starts panicking and freaking out and screams, but nobody hears her.
Yeah, I think because everyone's doing they're like humming and people are talking like he's doing the seance and the guy's screaming. I don't think they would have heard her anyways.
Well, she's freaking out. Indiana's like, this is nothing I've not seen before. I saw Nazis boiled alive in the last one. And Shortround is like, I'll look, but there's
Yeah.
parts he's kind of like freaking out about. But that's when they see the stones. The stones, there's now 3 of them.
Mhm.
And Indiana is like, okay, when everybody leaves, I'm going to go down there and get the stones. So he crawls over, crawls down, goes and grabs all the stones. While he does that, he gets captured. Well, no, that's not true.
Mhm.
He goes and he finds like a back path, and he goes down that path and he sees where all the kids are now in the mine chained, working on the rocks, doing
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
And that's
Which
when they capture him.
yeah. I feel like they could have changed that just a little bit. Like,
Why?
maybe not had them as, like, child slaves, just had them, like, captured in a cage down there or something.
What, working for free?
No, not working at all.
What are they doing down there, playing?
No, I'm just saying they coulda took the child slavery part out of it and just changed it a little bit.
To be
It's a bit
adult
harsh.
slaves?
It's a bit harsh.
But so you just want them to be workers that are getting a fair wage and
No,
breaks.
they don't need to be working at all. Just, like, sitting in the cage waiting to be rescued or something
Oh,
simple. I don't
but
know.
okay, well then that will lead into 2 sec in a couple seconds of what I was gonna say.
Oh, yeah.
I know what you're saying, but it will lead into. But while Indiana Jones gets captured there, Willie and Shortround get captured back in the ritual room, and they get taken off to wherever place.
Mhm,
They put uh Shortround and Indiana Jones in this like cage with some other 2 kids, which
mhm,
these 2 kids are so skinny.
mhm. I
And
think that's the point.
I know it is the point. And I remember as a kid watching it and being like, gosh, they must be really hungry.
Mhm,
Because I didn't understand. And like for us, I was a chubby kid. So like to see kids that were really skinny was something that was like
mhm.
jarring for me. And even now when I saw it, I was like, was that the casting breakdown? Like we need kids that look emaciated.
Mhm,
It
could have
just
been.
it kind of hurt my heart because I'm like,
Yeah.
guys, come on. But these kids basically tell them, don't drink the blood that they're going to give you because it turns you into like a zombie.
Mhm. You'll have nightmares.
Yeah, the shaman brings Indiana Jones and Short Round back to the ritual room, and this is where he explains to them that the kids are there to dig out the 2 remaining stones
Yeah.
that are supposed to be down in these caves. I don't think I've ever heard that before.
Mm, I think I knew they were working for them somehow. But the other 2 stone oh, never mind. There's 5 stones.
Yeah, there's supposed to be 5
Yeah.
Shankara stones. They stole one from the
Mhm.
the the village that we know of, but I never in my 35 years of seeing this movie had ever heard or clocked that he says the kids down here are working to trying to find they're little dwarves and hobbits trying to find the Arkenstone for us. Like that's what it made me feel like this time around. Like that's what they're trying to find. They're trying to find more stones.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Never heard that, never connected it.
Hmm.
But they feed Indy the blood. They put Short Round to work. The
Mhm.
next scene for a movie without a lot of plot, this is a lot of plot.
Yeah.
The next scene is another sacrifice. Indiana is now completely zombied out. He's got
Yep.
no shirt on. Just felt like I had to say that. No shirt on Harrison Ford. No complaints. They're going to do another ritual sacrifice. And guess who it is? Willie.
Willie. Of
I'm not
course.
mad at it. I'm not upset with it.
Although the scene she's actually even though she's being sacrificed, she's more toned down than the rest of the movie, I felt
Yeah,
like.
I mean, I think she's scared out of her mind. And she
Yeah.
does pass out several times in the next like 10 minutes of the
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
But they put her in the cage, and the shaman guy is like, actually, bring Indiana over. Like she
He
can,
can
or
do it.
he can get her heart. He can lock her in. He doesn't do that, but he's still doing all these weird things. And he locks her into the cage, and she spits on him. And I don't know why that really rubbed me the wrong way. I
Why?
don't know what, it's so gross to me, and as an actor, if I was ever in a scene where somebody actually had to spit on me, I think I would be like, "We need to do this somewhere, like, this can't be practical, please don't actually spit on me."
Yeah, it's funny because after she does it and he goes, like, to wipe, you can actually see it, like,
Ooh, no, 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 no.
down.
Yeah, I just when I see people get spit on in movies, I'm just like,
Yeah,
like,
and not
that's
to mention
just,
she's like, and then
yeah,
spits.
it's
Like,
so
it's not just
gross.
a spit.
No,
It's
so gross. But they start lowering her down.
Mhm,
And at this time in the mines, Short Round is starting to work, but he is like gnawing at his chains to get out and he breaks free
mhm.
and he gets back to the ritual room and starts like fighting these adults,
Yeah,
which
with
is
his
cool
karate
because, yeah,
moves.
Quan is black belt. So like it's amazing. But he gets to Indiana Jones and decides to like not light him on fire, but like stick a torch in his belly.
Yeah, he just burns him to wake him up.
Burns him to wake him up, but like there's no wound. The pain is over in like 2 seconds. Like it's done. And then he like tells him, he's like, "Kid, it's me. I'm back.
He
Let's
snapped
fight."
out of it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
they start fighting everybody while Willie is still being lowered. And this
Mhm.
is what gets me is that throughout this like 10-minute fight scene, she is lowered and taken down,
Yeah,
lowered,
yeah.
taken, risen, down,
In reality, she
up
probably
and
would have been
down.
in the lava by now.
She's passed out 10 times. Yeah, she would have been dead.
Mhm.
But they finally bring her up after beating up everybody. And I think it's funny because Indiana gets her out of this cage. Wouldn't the cage be burning hot? It's been over lava
Probably.
for like a good 10 minutes.
Probably. Or at least have some burn marks, like, with her the handcuffs or anything.
When she comes out, her face and chest are burnt. And
Oh,
I do
yeah.
give them props for that. She is
Yeah.
burnt. But like it's one of those things where I was like, my dude, don't touch that. Like that's the waiter says it's hot. It's hot.
Yeah.
It just is a little unrealistic. So they grab the stones and she says, "Let's get out of here."
Mhm.
This is finally when Indiana Jones is like, "All of us."
Together. The
No,
children included.
he doesn't give a speech. But they go down back into the mine and looking at my notes. They go back into the mine, and this is where the hour of the movie starts, where there's not a lot of dialogue besides Quan yelling, "Indy!"
Yeah, it's a bunch of
It's
action.
just
Mhm.
action scene to action scene to action scene to action scene. So I'm just gonna glaze over them because not a lot happens that is specific.
Yeah, which is the most fun action scene to me
No, no, no.
for some reason.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
no, no, I'm gonna go through them, but like I'm not gonna like detail them. But
Well,
like
yeah.
they go down there and Indiana Jones starts fighting all the guards and they get their keys and all the kids come up to them and they're like, "Free us." So they free them. The kids storm out. They go through the palace, kicking the Maharaja's junk everywhere,
Mhm.
and they run out of the palace. Indiana then starts fighting with like this giant man. And while they're fighting, the Maharaja has a voodoo doll of Indiana Jones
Mhm.
and starts like pricking him. So it's hard for Indiana Jones to fight. So then Short Round goes and fights the Maharaja. There's like a mirror scene where like Indiana Jones is punching, and then in the background, Short Round's doing the same punches.
And then Willie's punching nobody.
Yeah, Willie's down there like, yeah,
Yeah,
she really is. She's like cheering down.
exactly.
But Short Round or Indiana Jones is fighting this guy on a conveyor belt. He throws the guy's scarf into the conveyor belt. He gets rolled up into the conveyor belt. There's blood. Confirmed kill number 3. Ding!
Only 3.
Trick. Confirmed kill.
Oh,
Confirmed.
okay.
So Short Round burns the Maharaja to get him out of his sleep. And he says,
Mhm.
"Take the tunnel to the left to get out of here."
Yeah.
Great. They jump into the mining carts. While they're in the carts, of course, Indiana Jones clicks the rail the wrong way and they go to the right and go on to a treacherous set of tracks. And my question is, why was this not the Indiana Jones ride at Disneyland?
I was thinking that too. I was like, "This would be a really good ride." I was also thinking, did they build this whole thing specifically for this movie, or is it just sections that they're
I read that they built it on a stage and it's basically a circle.
Oh, okay.
So they just had like they just kept going around and around in a circle.
Mhm.
And I think you can tell because some parts, some parts look the same, but also some parts they go extremely slow.
Mhm, mhm.
But they're like, we're going too fast. Like at the
Yeah.
end where she's like, we're gonna crash. And I'm like, he could just jump out of there. You guys would be fine.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
kiss that little thing at the end.
Yeah.
But
Hmm. I agree, though. It should have been the Indiana Jones ride. I think that would have
yeah,
been fun.
it looks super fun.
Mhm.
But they jump off, or they're going through the ride, and the shaman's guys are chasing them because they have the stones. They, of course, put a plank on the tracks, and one of the shaman's henchmen fall off. I'm gonna say confirmed kill 4, 5, and 6.
All
Then
in one go.
yeah, then they another henchman cart comes down, and then they hit the toppled over cart of the previous henchman.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say confirmed kill 8, 9, and 10. Or confirmed kill 8 and 9 at least. And at this point, the shaman is back in the mining and they decide to topple over the giant water tank. Water tank topples, they go through the tunnels. Indiana Jones and crew are now running for their lives. They finally go out to like an open place, but oh no, it's a cliff again. So
Yeah.
everybody just hugs onto the wall while the water is streaming.
Mhm.
Indiana says, go to the bridge.
Did he know there was a bridge there?
Apparently, because 2
Hmm.
seconds later, they're at a bridge.
Mhm.
It's a drawbridge across a ravine because this is Indiana Jones. No Indiana Jones without a drawbridge across a
Oh, yeah.
ravine.
Yep.
Willie and Shortround go across. On the other side, they run into the shaman.
Mhm.
Indiana Jones is halfway through the bridge and he says, which bugs me, let her go. But keep Shortround? Like he
I
says,
guess
let
so.
her go several times, which again, there's no reason for you to be here, Willie. You're just here to be saved by man.
Yeah. Short Round can take care of himself.
Yeah, Shortround,
He
you
doesn't
do
need to
you,
be
bro.
saved. Yeah.
Yeah. But the shaman says, no, we're going to kill you. Like, we'll find the stones later, but Indy, we're going to kill you. His guys traverse onto the bridge at both sides.
Mhm.
Then he makes Willie and Shortround go on the bridge. I'm not really understanding his mentality here because he also gets on the bridge.
Yeah.
Like, you'd
Yeah.
think if I was an evil man, I'd be like, hey, my dudes, bring me Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Not let's all get on this bridge. But they
Together.
do. And Indy tells Shortround, now in Chinese,
Mhm.
something. I'm assuming he says, hey, hold on.
Yeah, because he's like, we're
And
about to go for a ride.
yeah, that's my favorite line of this whole movie. He goes, hold on, lady, we're about to go for a ride. And they start gripping the side. And lo and behold, Indiana Jones cuts the rope and the drawbridge hangs down onto the
Yeah.
sides.
Which when they're all like tying their arms, wrapping it in the rope and then the
Mhm.
legs, I'm pretty sure
That's
it's
not
gonna
going to
get
hold.
ripped off
Yeah, that's not going to hold.
when it cuts. But
It's not going to hold. But also, can't confirm the numbers, but I'm going to say anywhere between 9 and
yeah,
10 people
there's a bunch
confirmed
on there.
kills.
Yeah.
Confirmed kills here
Yeah.
when he drops everybody. But they're now hanging on the drawbridge up against this brick. They're trying, or the wall, they're trying to get it up. And while they're doing this, more of these henchmen guys are just like falling down. But Shortround and Willie are just staying in place.
Yeah. They never
And then
move really.
and then the shaman guy falls onto Indiana and they kind of tussle. And that's when Willie and Shortround decide to leave.
Mhm.
They're like, he's
Right.
got it.
Yeah.
Let's go. But the shaman guy tries to take out Indy's heart. Indy battles him and throws him off.
Mhm.
Confirmed kill either 21 or 11. I don't know how many guys fell off the bridge.
Where's the gap?
I don't know how many guys fell off the bridge. So it's either none of those are confirmed kills or they are, and it's 21. But anyways, when they get to the top, the British army comes
Mhm.
out of nowhere
Yeah.
and starts like shooting across the ravine to the shaman's guys over there.
Mhm.
They cease fire. Everybody's safe. Indiana Jones has the rock. They're all laughing.
Woohoo.
The next scene is them going back to the village, and you can now see that the village is sprightly. The water's back.
Yeah.
The people are in like full bright
Colors.
colored clothes.
Mhm.
And the leader of the town says to Indiana Jones, we knew you were coming back when our village sprung back to life.
Yeah.
And he gives him the stone And then all the children like run behind him, which I'm like, my dudes, how far back were you that it was dead silent? And then all of a sudden it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Plus,
very
they left like
strange.
20 minutes before.
Yeah, they should have been home by now.
They
Yeah,
just took the long
100%.
route, I
Yeah,
guess.
100% should have been home by now. But the village is excited. What's her name? Willie tries to figure out, why didn't you keep the stone for your like glory and riches or whatever?
Mhm.
And Indiana Jones says, no, like it just would have gone into a museum, which is really funny because that's like all Indiana Jones cares about.
Yeah.
And then she tries to leave and he says, oh, you're crazy about me, kid. They kiss. End of the movie.
Mhm. Everyone's happy.
Everyone's happy. We never hear of Willie Scott or Shortround again.
Yeah. I wonder why they didn't put Shortround in another one.
Well, I think the next one, well, but it doesn't make sense. I mean, well, it didn't make sense in this one, but like, because the next one is he goes back to, finding his dad in Europe and trying to get the Nazis again.
Yeah, that's true. I gotta go
So
back and watch all the other ones now.
I went back actually a couple of months ago and rewatched them all. Rewatched them all for me, but the first time for Shane, because Raiders
Mm.
of the Lost Ark, I said it so many times, is like the movie that got me into filmmaking.
Mm.
Like I had so many questions about it, and
Mhm.
I hold that movie very dear to me. But yeah, I feel like in the long run, I only really watch Raiders over and this one, and everybody hates Crystal Skull. Love it until they get to the aliens.
Yeah, that's just random.
Crystal Skull is a brilliantly made movie until they get to the aliens because
Yeah.
it makes no sense.
Yeah.
But with that said, Nicole, Temple of Doom, do we think it is nostalgia or it held up?
I'm gonna say it actually held up for me.
Me too.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, it holds up for
It
sure.
holds up for purely entertainment purposes.
Yeah.
Because like there's a lot. Kate Capshaw, get her out of here.
Yeah, it's a
Murderer, get him
fun
out of here.
movie.
Yeah, it's just fun, and it's like it's not a lot of heavy baggage. Like there's definitely stuff wrong with it. A
Mhm.
lot of cultural insensitivity, a lot of racism, like a lot of things that shouldn't have happened. But
Mhm.
like I was thoroughly entertained.
Yeah, I like this movie.
What does it say about me? I don't know.
Yeah. No.
But yeah.
Mm. I mean, compared to the other movies we watched growing up, it's pretty
Yeah,
tame.
it's not that bad. Well, you know what we didn't do before we started?
We
Figure
didn't
out
think of
what
our
movie
next.
we're doing. Yeah. What are we gonna do?
I don't know. It can be a
Hmm.
surprise. We'll think on it.
Can we do Death Becomes Her?
Sure.
Actually, no, because that's not a happy movie. No, scratch that. We'll save it for another month. We need to pick a happy movie. Guys, we will surprise you next month. Or go ahead and or next month, next week. You tell us in the
Mhm.
comments what you guys want to see. It's random
Yes.
month. Movies from the late 90s and earlier.
Yeah.
Tell us what you guys want us to watch. On that note, we appreciate you guys being here. Give us a like, give us a follow, give us a subscribe, leave us a comment. Thanks for downloading the episode. Hope you have a good movie night. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.